Hey, good morning, guys. Back here with you. They're working on the shop, and gonna get some stuff graded out, get some insulation around the outside of the perimeter of the building. So the outside perimeter, outside perimeter of the building, and then get everything graded around it, dirt pushed up against all the concrete so that they're ready for their heavier equipment like scissor lifts and big forklifts and stuff like that to be able to put the building up. And I think that's supposed to happen in about 3 days. They're supposed to start that. So we'll check back here in a little bit, see how things are going. They're out here getting the insulation on the outside, getting the rest of the form stripped off. Guys are starting to get some of the dirt leveled out down here on the other end of the properties. Different view. It's been a couple days since I showed you guys the guys doing the dirt work out here. So they had a few people here earlier. Now it's just down to one guy right now, but he's drilling in the anchor bolts. And I don't think I didn't show you the finished work on the dirt, so we'll probably walk out there real quick so you can kind of see what they graded out as much as they did. And it started delivering some equipment, so I assume that's what they did, is they were going back for more equipment. But we'll take a walk out there and take a look. I can get a little better look now. They got graded out pretty well. I think we're going to bring in a little more dirt in here and kind of carry this out just a little further. Of course, this hill gets fairly steep going down towards the trees there, but at least up to about the back of my enclosed trailer. And I would like to have it a little more level. We'll see what we can do. It's not that critical. The rest of this looks really good. Well, here's one of the differences from my red iron building that I did before, is there was no angle iron plates like this that you set in the ground. It was all set on the concrete. Every one of the pieces that needed to attach to a floor were part of the main structure, not these items that lay on the floor, these pieces of angle. I'm not saying that's bad, it's just a difference. All right, well, here we go, getting up posts. We got 4 people out here now, which is a full crew. Anyway, standing up post number 2. And they talked like they'd have all those up today and be hanging up trusses, or the roof. It's not really a truss, the roof beams though, tomorrow. Alright, we'll check back in a little bit, see where they're at. A little windy out here today, but they've got post up, getting a few of the girts, lock everything in. A couple X braces, it looks like, on the back side over there. Let's see one in there. So these are channels, unlike the red iron that I built at the last shop was I-beams. So these are channels, and they're all galvanized, which I think is probably better considering the weather in this part of the country. But we'll see. Anyway, you can kind of begin to see how everything's going to come together. All right, it's the end of day 1. They got up 3 of the posts and a couple of the girts or purlins. I always forget. Anyway, they said they'll be back in the morning, and they'll actually get a little earlier start on it tomorrow. Today they were here at an early time, but a lot of layout, had to drill all these holes in the concrete to go ahead and install the brackets here. And then looking at these, so like I was saying, my other building had I-beams, where these are pieces of channel. You can see them laying right here. And what they actually do is sandwich the two pieces of channel together. See, they both slip inside. It's two pieces of angle iron bolted to the ground. And then they just sandwich the two together, and they're bolted together at the very top with that plate in there. And that's where they'll tie in with more channel to go over the roof to make up the... These are probably, I would guess, 11 gauge. Don't see it stamped on them anywhere. But that's my best guess, is 11 gauge. Oh, let's see right here, 10 gauge. So they're 15 foot 6 1/4 tall, and then they're 20 by 5, so 20 inch wide, 5 inch depth, and then 10 gauge. And I can tell you the I-beams that we had in the other one, they were way bigger than 10 gauge. So 11 gauge is roughly 1/8 of an inch, about 125 thickness. On these, so the one over here, and then there'll be one in the corner, this one in the corner, and this one, they all have this extra plate sticking out, and then these really long channels with the corresponding bolt holes there. They bolt here and all the way across there, and then the same on the back wall from this one to the one that's not standing yet over here. They bolt across there, and then there's a couple of posts, if you'll remember from the first video, right about here there is a thickened area, and another one over here is a thickened area where they're going to put 2 more posts. And those posts are to help hold up this beam, and oh, there's one of the cats. That one's Frank. This beam then has floor joist that sits on top of it. And I'm sure they're out there in those piles somewhere. All this over here is the colors, or the outside skin. But anyway, and then the floor joists go on top of it, and then they put down 3/4 inch plywood. And it's really not plywood, it's 3/4 inch OSB, tongue and groove OSB. These all look to be perts and growing. These are probably the floor joists right there. I'm gonna guess that's those, because these are probably only 12 or 14 feet. Oh, it's got to be these, because these 4 longer ones are so that we could extend out, kind of cantilever out a little bit, so I could put my staircase. I wanted my staircase built into the original 20 feet. If that makes any sense? So from that post to this post, that's one bay. You basically have 20 foot of concrete there. The floor is going to go all the way across to this post, and then all the way back. So it's a 20 foot by 50 foot balcony, mezzanine, whatever you want to call it. I wanted the staircase to be like have 4 foot away from this wall, that direction, and then have the staircase come down, staying within this 20 feet. And that was not something they could do, because then they would have to header this all off. It was going to take a whole bunch more engineering. It's not like it's impossible. It's just becomes very expensive or cost prohibitive, I guess. Basically, I was wanting to come out about 10 feet off this post. So about where this line in the concrete is, in front of this tractor, scissor lift. So I wanted to come out to about here, and then between this post and 4 feet over, have a staircase coming down towards us. And that way you had plenty of landing when you got to the top, and it was coming out of the 20 feet that is the balcony, because I don't really need 1,000 square feet up there. I mean, I'll use it, but I was trying to be a little more practical. Instead, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to run some of the floor joists long, they're going to be cantilevered out by 4 feet. So they're encroaching into this second bay by 4 feet. And then they're going to come out this way towards us about, I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 feet off of that beam. I think it's 4 feet off the face of this beam. And then the stairs will start out here and be on this side of the beam, or this side of the post rather, and the beam that goes across and go up. And it'll just be shoved all the way to the wall. So it takes some space out of this bay, which, you know, I wish we could avoid that, but not the end of the world. So you can see right here, here's where the door cutout is. So the door cutout's going to end there, and basically from the center of this beam out this way 4 feet, which is roughly right here, and then that way 4 feet past the end of the beam, or the post there. I keep saying beam where I mean post. So 4 feet from here to here, 4 feet from the end of here that way, and then that's the staircase will come down, and I end up having to build the stairs myself, because they were willing to do it, but they would do it out of lumber, and I would much prefer the stairs be out of steel. And this company just doesn't do that kind of steel work, so no big deal. Make it ourselves. I'm hoping there's some of this channel left over. My last project, there was a lot of steel left over in these buildings. So I'm hoping, and if not, I may just go down and pick some of this up, or see if the building guy, he's got steel all over the place, so he may have a couple pieces like this, and if I could get 2, I could build my stair runners out of those, and then I just need to get something to tie them together, and a little bit of angle iron and some expanded metal, or probably not expanded metal, probably use diamond plate for the treads. We'll check back in the morning when they get started. Then I'm going to take off for the weekend and go camping. And we get back. They should be just about done with the framing on the day I get back. Well, here we go this morning. Everybody's out here getting to work. They've gotten a little bit done since they got here. They're just waiting on a bigger telelifter, the big extension forklift, so they can put the rafters up here. Oops, sorry. They can put the rafters or whatever up, tie everything together. So they said today would mostly be tying what they have together and getting everything else prepped and ready for Monday morning. It's been gone for a few days. We took the RV out, went to the Oregon coast crabbing, and then went north of there onto the Washington coast and did a little more just hanging out, camping, glamping, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, they sent me one picture, which I'll clip in here, and then I got back and this is where they're at. So it's looking pretty awesome. They're starting to get all the purlins in and girts, and it's coming together. They think probably tomorrow they'll be starting on the balcony, but we can walk out here and kind of get a look at it. It's probably a little noisy. It's a little better idea now. So we've got 3 bays. This one will have a 10 by 10 garage door, sectional door. Across from it is the big door. It's 14 tall, 12 wide. And then on the far bay at the other side is another 10 by 10. So you can drive through, just not with like a full-size RV or anything. And then this will be the drive-through bay for the RV. It'll get sheeted underneath, and then this wall gets completely covered with a couple of windows up here and a couple windows on the far end, just to add some light. You can see it's coming together way quicker than the last one we built when it was just me and my boys. The contractors were here most of the day, and you can see they got a long way towards the framing being done. I think they said they would have all of the framing completed tomorrow by late afternoon, and then they'll start the wall sheeting on Monday next week. They said really Monday and Tuesday won't really notice anything because it's all the prep work, getting all the sheets out, getting them pre-drilled. They've gone through all the trim and everything. I think I showed you this yesterday. We got the one piece over here that's damaged. They're getting a new one of those. But a lot of metal out here. So let's take a look. So right now we are underneath the carport area that my RV is going to sit in. It'll take up from about here to roughly down to here. And then I'm going to put a 4-post lift in here sideways in this end of this bay, I guess. And then we'll put cars in from this way. And they're not completely out of the weather, but they are under a roof, so they're not getting rained on and stuff. And I'll still be able to get my RV in and out. And up here we have framing for a window. And that's going to be a slider. And then they've got to do this framing yet, which they said they'd be doing tomorrow. So that'll get another window. I picked them up this morning, so they're over here. And then this whole wall gets sheeted, and that's the end of the building. And as we come around here, this is where I kind of changed things up today. Well, I kind of changed them up yesterday, but made it work today. So this is the balcony or mezzanine, whatever we want to call it. And it was designed to go all the way to here. What we've done instead is put, I had them originally, let's see, let me back up. So it was designed to go all the way to there. And I think I tried to explain this last night. And then sticking out here 4 feet, there was going to be 4 foot of cantilevered floor joist. And then my stairs were going to run right down here sideways. And I just keep feeling like that was just going to eat up all this space in this bay. I mean, basically my stairs were going to be from the door over, and I just didn't like it. Or I would have had to make the stairs narrower, and I'd like to kind of keep them wide so everything fits well. So what we've done instead is we left these floor joists out, and we put a landing there, so my stairs will go up this way now, and they'll start right here at this post and go up, and that's 10 feet. And then I had them leave these floor joists out, and this, I'm going to put another 4-post lift right here, and it can raise up and put a car basically up through the floor, if you would. Well, my idea after that, getting back here just a little ways, is I will build, let's see, there's where the staircase will be, is between those two. So then from this beam up, I will build a short pony wall, and across this beam, and then across the beam in the back, and down this side, and then I'll take the floor joists we didn't use and run them right along here, and all of that will then become a raised balcony. Now I think I'm going to have to raise it about 2 to 3 feet, which is going to put the floor somewhere close to the bottom of that brace, and it'll be close to the bottom of the windows, but it gives me another roughly 16 by 20, 17 by 20 of storage. Or actually, it's a little less than that. It's a little less than 14 by 20. So another 200 to 280 square feet would be up here, and it'll just be a raised floor here. And off that landing, I'll put a step or two, whatever I need to get up to it. And yeah, you're not going to be walking around there a lot. It's going to be mostly bins or whatever kind of storage, but stuff I can store. Then this will be kind of like the old shop, for any of you remember that. There'll be railing along here, railing along the stairs there. So this will be 32 by 20. And that is, 32 times 20 would be 640 square feet. So my last shop, its balcony was the 50 feet, but it was missing the diagonal corner that we had to cut off the building, and it was only 16 feet deep. If I'm doing the math right, 16 by 30, about 580, almost 600 square feet on the balcony last time. And then, like I said, this one is going to be 20 by roughly 32, so a little bigger, 640-ish square feet. So we're going to have all the storage that we had in the last one in a square, plus we'll gain whatever we get on top of where the car lifts are. So our car lift is, and it'll be basically sideways in there. You'll drive a car in, raise it up, drive another one under it. This area from these posts, so from the post that way 4 feet is the stairs, then the rest of the car, where the car lift will be, from here to roughly here, about halfway between that post and this post, that's going to be where I have my tool room. It won't be quite this, it'll be a square this time instead of that triangle shape that it was last time. So I'm about the same square footage, but in a square. And then the bigger area and going back around will be what I'm calling my machine room. And that's where I plan to, I sold my other lathe and the lathe mill combo and some of my other equipment, but this will be where a new lathe and a mill, and new to me, let's be honest, a lathe and a mill, and probably my table saw and some of the other tools that I use when I'm metalworking but don't use very often, so I don't need them out and available. Can also kind of be some tool storage on the backside there where the L is. And then finally, up here, what we plan, and this may be too big. I may end up downsizing this a little bit, but there'll be a wall right here, come out and go this way. My air compressor will sit in here, a small water heater will sit here, and the boiler for the in-floor heat. And then the planned bathroom will be right here with just a room with a toilet in it. And then right here there'll be a sink that's open to the outside. And then the man door will be right here, 3 feet. It's about a foot off that post and then 3 feet. And they'll be framing that tomorrow. So we'll get to see that. But you can start to see this is where there'll be a 10 by 10 door here. This is a closed bay, so roughly right in here I think is where my plasma table will sit. And then I plan to put a 2-post lift right here. And then this bay where the yellow straps are, this will be a 14 by 12 door, 14 tall, 12 foot wide. And then they got to frame this one out. This will be another 10 by 10 door. So this will be the drive-through bay. And I do have room to put another lift back here. So whether I do it on the big bay or this bay, I don't know for sure, but that's the plan, is to have a lift in one of these bays towards the back. It would work in this one because I centered it on that door so you could drive right through the lift to the outside. But I did want a pass-through bay if you're wanting to get some airflow in here during the spring and fall and maybe early part of summer. Finally, we have 2 or 3 windows. Yeah, 3 windows on this end. They'll be there, one in the center and one here. And they are just fixed glass. They're out here leaning against the flooring for the balcony. So that's the windows, and they're just fixed glass because you don't really, without a ladder, you're not going to really have any way to get up there to them. So that's it. That's today's update. I think it's looking pretty cool. So. All right. It's getting chilly and the sun's going down. Let's get inside. Hey guys, well that's today's update, and as always I just want to say thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all the other YouTube stuff. And I know some of you are really interested in the shop builds, so I'll keep doing the updates, try and keep them short. But for those of you who aren't, that's I totally get it. There's more regular content coming out every Saturday, and I'm trying to keep up with that and get more and more stuff. So please check it out. There's about 350 videos out now, so there should be plenty of entertainment for those of you who are new to the channel. All right, thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you. These guys been out here all day today getting stuff done. and it looks pretty awesome. There's a few details they still got to finish up in the framing, but they're as close as they're going to get. Basically, they said on Monday they're going to be doing all their trim and stuff that goes under the sheeting, and then Tuesday they thought they'd start putting up sheeting. So that means Monday they'll get the last few things finished. But they got one window back wherever I'm at, back here, and we have one more to go, or two more to go, one in each of those openings. They didn't get those framed today. They did get all the doors framed. Let me turn you around. They did get all the doors framed. I think this one might have been here yesterday. This one was not here yesterday, so that's done now. And I think this one was already done yesterday, but the man door was not, so that's done now. And I think we already looked at this yesterday with the opening where I'm going to put my lift and then staircase. So it's hard to tell, but they were out here working all day. You could just hear the tools running and running and running. So a lot of stuff had to get done to get it to this point, but it's hard to see it in a lot of ways. Anyway, that's the Friday update. They said basically don't expect to really see any real noticeable progress until late Tuesday, early Wednesday. I think that just is supposed to keep me from getting too anxious. That's it for my framing update on the building. And next time you see it, it will be sheeted and looking complete, at least from the outside. I already talked to an electrician. Got to get some people out here to talk about doing some insulation work. But overall, it's coming along. I'm trying to decide. I would really like to epoxy the floors, but I think it's just going to be out of my budget. We're 3,000 square feet. And as much as I might like it, I just don't know that I can afford it. It's like a whole lot of other things. You just got to decide what money you're going to be willing to spend on what. So for now, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all the other YouTube stuff. We'll see you again next time. God bless.